You have found the Lost Legion, a Star Wars Legion podcast where we talk about tactics, releases, news, and most importantly, a lot of trash. Welcome back, everybody, to the Lost Legion. I am Adam, joined as always by JR. I don't have the bounty on my head anymore, Dieter.
Got my butt kicked.
and and by Daniel, I kicked Dieter's butt. Awesome, gentlemen.
I should
Thank
have
you for
had
joining me.
my Mando bounty with me. I forgot. I need to find it and
Yeah.
put it in frame.
It needs to be in the background on your shelves of games over there.
Yeah.
What are you talking about, man? That needs to be like the centerpiece above the fireplace.
Oh, it
mantle.
is. It is the centerpiece above my fireplace. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to record in front of the fireplace. So
You gotta be taking the portrait of the family down and hanging up Mando,
Right.
Priorities here. Hey, some quick podcast news, guys. We are not streaming this week. With it being Turkey Day and all that fun stuff, I figured I'd stop being a taskmaster and let the guys have the week off. So we will be back streaming next Wednesday at Go Back Gaming. This Wednesday is going to be episode 2 of Paint Night with Omar.
Nice.
We're still working out the time, so be looking at our Facebook, Discord, and all that for the time that Omar will be up and doing it. He's doing some really, really good work. Some more podcast news, or I don't know, more podcast / personal news. I am contemplating going to the Geeky Tees tournament December 4th. $20 buy-in, Geeky Tees out in Burbank. I mean, I said it before, I love it. It's the one tournament Omar went to. There's one thing, and JR and I were talking about this before the podcast, that is kind of I'm held up on, and I want your guys' general opinion, and maybe the internet world will hate me even more. But on their tournament info sheet for prize support, it says prizes will be given to first, second, and last. So my thing of not knowing if I want to go or not is because that's a $20 buy-in. And from the way that it's written, I'm not even walking out with promos.
Yeah.
So
I wonder if that's actually true, though. Have you reached out to them?
I haven't reached out to them. I've reached out to them. I am off tomorrow, so I was going to do all that tomorrow.
Maybe
So
they
this is
just mean like big prizes for like first, second, and last.
That's
Because yeah,
what
I'd
I'm
be
hoping.
surprised if like a local event like that doesn't have at least like a promo to hand out to everybody.
Honestly, I think that's fine. Like, I get the whole wanting to reward players for showing up and putting their time to play in a tournament, but I feel like if you could put the money towards a bigger price for the second reward, and I feel like it should be enough. You're not essentially buying $20 to get prizes. You're $20 to try to get the top prize, and that should be a lot. I one day have a dream. Day prize pools will be like Warhammers. I don't know how big Warhammers are, but like that'd be cool to be playing for $1 million. Obviously we're a long way from that, but I think that should be idea.
The problem with playing for $1 million is that you have to pay in like 100,000. And I don't want to do that.
But I don't know. So
or have a million people in the tournament.
I guess that's
like
true.
A whole month of playing that tournament.
I guess that would be true. Like for me, like big prizes, like our big tournament when we gave away it was before we started streaming, but we gave away a table full of terrain.
Yeah, that was cool.
Our big prize for the Escalation League was the box. Like big prizes and stuff like that, I 100% agree. Like not everybody should be walking away with the Shadow Collector box. Not everybody should be walking away with terrain. But a promo kit, an OP kit's $25, and it has what, 40 cards in it?
Yeah. Yeah, that
Yeah,
feels
but
like,
even
I mean, that's one player's buy-in, just so that everybody gets a little something. I feel
Yeah.
like that's definitely the way to go. And that's, if I had to guess, that's probably what they're doing, because it is a game store that's putting it on.
Mhm.
So they have access to that.
Like look at our keychains. I mean, outside of time, the keychains that the wife made was $10 for all of them, and then we still have extra fabric.
Nice.
So I don't know. Maybe we'll open it up on the Discord, YouTube channel, chat wherever you want, and let us know, what do you think? As a player, if you have a buy-in, regardless of the amount, should you be walking home with something, even if it's just a promo? I shouldn't say just a
we,
promo, because I love some of those promo cards.
Yeah, me
bro,
too.
we are walking away with something. Walking away with memories.
It's easy for you to say when you win all the time. Those of us who don't win all the time, we want our promos.
Hey, and that's called trauma, not memories. Trauma.
Trauma.
All right, so we'll open that up. You guys join our Discord, all that, Facebook. Let us hear what you think. Should you be walking away with something? And like, if it's a $5 buy-in, walk away with a, I don't know, a 50-cent ring pop Darth Vader ring. But should there be participation prizes? I guess is the question.
And I guess I'm okay. Like, if the buy-in was $5, I would be like, oh, like there doesn't have to be a prize, because $5 is basically like, oh, the shop is open today, and that's $5,
Yeah.
right? But $20, like, I don't know, I could get IG88 for that, and I want to get IG88, so I'd probably do that.
Well, and I would agree with that. Like $5, I think I would be okay with no prize support, because there are some game
We know what the
shops
prizes are.
in our local area that charge that just to sit down and play.
Mhm.
So, and I don't want to say the name, because I don't want to give them any shout outs. But no, I don't know. We don't know the prizes. This was just on their TO paper sheet, their tournament sheet that they handed out, or
Gotcha.
was on their email. So I don't know. Maybe I'll shoot them an email tomorrow and we'll see. Because that's my other thing too. Like, drive 4 hours, be there all day, and it's on a Sunday. So then I have to burn a vacation day on Monday.
You're not just gonna drive back and then get right to work at what,
No.
5 in the morning?
I'm a lowly government employee. I don't think I could do that.
Yeah, the drive is the bigger thing for me, because that's a
Mhm.
long time. Like, that's as far away as like SoCal Open was. I don't
Yeah, but
feel like driving that much for that small
the way I
event.
look at it too is, if we carpool, like, and JR loses round 1, I mean, he could take a nap while we're all playing.
I really
All
want
right.
that store in Tracy to run some more events. I want to go play there. That's driving distance for me.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. What are they doing?
I looked up their website today, and it's not up right now, at least for the game shop. I think they're updating it.
I know Acer, he ran the San Francisco tournament, so I know that's
Yeah.
what he was doing. And then we got the holidays, so probably nothing for the holidays. I don't know if he's going to LVO. I need to talk to him about that. And then
He runs Legion by the Bay too, doesn't he?
yeah.
Yeah.
So he's doing all kinds of stuff. Always, every time I hit him up, he's always doing something. But yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, he's a good guy when we're hanging out with him. But let's move to tournaments. So we are looking at a I'm trying out this Longshanks tournament organizer. It seems pretty cool so far, but we're looking at the Atomic Star Wars Legion tournament for November. It is out of Durham, North Carolina. Tiebreakers are SOS. So 24 players. First place. Daniel, who was in first?
So first place is Kentucky Dan with the Shadow Collective. And the list we've got here is we've got Maul with Force Push, Force Choke, Vigilance and Tenacity, and the Dark Saber. We have got Pike Syndicate Capo. Oh, sorry, this is not readable really on my computer.
I can read it.
I'm not a fan of Longshanks. All right, here we go. So we got Pike Syndicate Capo with Vigilance, another Pike Syndicate Capo with Improvised Orders. You've got Pike Syndicate Foot Soldiers with the Disruptor. It looks like you've got 3 of those. And then 1 Pike Syndicate Foot Soldier with the Disruptor and the Capo. and then 1 naked Pike Syndicate foot soldier. So he hits his full 6 core with a little bit of variety in there.
That is a lot of dodges.
Yeah. Then he's got the AA5 speeder truck with the backworld medic, just in case those dodges don't pan out. And then a Black Sun Enforcer to ride in the bus if Maul wants to walk. So this is a rough list. This is, yeah. This list is also taking a 12-point bid, which means that it has a reasonable chance of being blue. And yeah, this is exactly the kind of list that you don't want to play Recover the Supplies against. And
isn't this the list that you played against in your?
It's very similar. Yeah. A little bit different. The list that I played against had 2 naked core and then 2 core with the capo, or 3 core with the capo.
Yeah.
But yeah, very similar.
So you brushed over the name of the list, and I think it's the name of the list says everything about this list.
Let me see.
The name of the list is
super try hard something. I can't see after the result.
Super try hard BSC.
So it is a try hard list. I mean, it is a lot of dodges to chew from. It is noticed to say that the top 3 actually are tied 3-0. So he did win on SOS.
Okay. Oh yeah, I see that.
I actually really like this list. After my spanky from Daniel last Wednesday, I was just like, I need something to Maul be transported in. And then I like this has a twofold. One, you could put Maul on the bus and you just do bus things and you got the backward medic. Or if Maul wants to infiltrate, you could put the Black Suns in there.
And the Black Suns in there are no joke. Like, that's really bad.
Yeah. So I'm really digging this, and it's just something that, when we get talked to about our LVO list, I was just like, maybe I'll do this. So shout out to Kentucky Dan, man. If I take this to the LVO, man, it gives me inspiration right now. It looks pretty solid.
Yeah. He's gonna claim like a 5% tax on all your prizes if you win.
Right?
I made that
Hopefully
list.
I see him there.
It's good to me. It's great. I don't know. I have the Shadow Collective. It's not fun to me to just hide behind all the dodges, but I'm a very aggressive player.
This list is fairly aggressive too, though, because Maul gets in turn 1, turn 2 if he's really lagging, and then the Black Sun also want to be in your face. So this list, even though it does sit back, really the Pikes are sitting back and providing crazy fire support for Maul and the Black Sun, who are just murdering things. Yeah, at least that's what happened to me.
I'm really liking my Wookiees. Like, I just want to charge you. I don't care. I just want to be in your face.
And I'm kind of with him. Like, I've been kind of hitting that stagnant a little bit with the Shadow Collective. It's just the lists are so boring, especially when I'm taking LVO right now. It's just boring to play, and sometimes it get daunting and just like, I just want to do something. But yeah, I feel that. And this
I
one,
definitely see how your list falls into that, just because it is very passive. Even the way you're running Maul, he's more for screening than for like aggressive play. Whereas this Maul, he's going in and he's murdering things all game long.
Yep.
I think Shadow Collective's at a hard spot, being the first battle force, combined with it being a new faction that's not a faction. I think they're in a hard spot. I think they need more. They need more options. They need more versatility. They need more options.
I'd almost like to just see Pikes get smacked down a little bit, because I feel like there are some options that you could do with Gar, that you could do with Mandos that aren't being explored. Because if you're doing that, you're just not taking Pikes, which doesn't make sense.
Sure. And also, it's like, just like Adam hit it on the spot, is like, there's not a lot of variety, and I kind of don't want there to be variety, because that means they're focusing on the Shadow Collective as opposed to the other factions. I feel like the Shadow Collective should be like, hey, you could take this in other units or other factions, and that's the new hitch for the Shadow Collective. But it's in that weird spot of like, oh yeah, there's not a whole lot you can do, but at the same time, you don't want there to be, because then that's taken away from other people's factions.
Yeah, but they could release like some mercenary units, like even the swoops that could be taken in the Shadow Collective or taken somewhere else. There's like the Hut Cartel that they could rope in. So if they do like a Hut release, I think that would be fine.
What, like speed -1?
Well, I think it'd just be the Hut Mercenaries. I don't remember that Clone Wars series very well, but if I remember right, it was just a bunch of pirates.
Son of Java.
That's what have plotting They spend 2 actions to move 1 speed.
All right, let's move on to number 2. Dieter, you want to take second place?
I got you. All right. So Aegon 019. He is at 796. 10 activations. His commanders are Han Solo with up close and personal, and Leia with vigilance. For operative, he has a Chewie with protector and situational awareness. 2 rebel troopers with situational awareness. 2 medium blaster troopers. 2 tauntauns with tenacity, and an airspeeder with wedge and the power harpoon. I gotta say, I like this list because it's not meta, and it just seems like a lot of fun to play. Tauntauns are back. He brought tauntauns back. Airspeeders have always been good. I don't know why I don't see a lot of those.
They have been
yeah, you got
good
the lovers.
since they got buffed.
hmm
That's what we'll put it that way, because they have not always been good.
That's true. But they got buffed a while ago, so they've been good for like 2 or 3 erratas.
Yeah. I personally like this list for the fact that it does not have Luke. I think it's the first Rebel list I've seen in a while without OP Luke or Commander Luke.
Yeah.
I don't know. I obviously it works well together and it's piloted well, but I just like the look of it, and I just want to throw a airspeeder around.
Does this count as like an echo-based defenders battle force? I'm just looking at it. I don't see
Ooh.
anything that isn't legal in there.
It might count, but I don't think that's how he ran it.
Yeah,
'Cause if
that's
you
what I'm
look-
curious about. Is I'm looking at it and it looks like he qualifies for it. And
Um,
I wonder if that was his original thought, and that's why Op Luke wasn't part of the original list.
any of you guys remember the command cards? Because he's got his command cards exposed. There's coordinated bombardment, which is Leia's. Sorry about the messes, Hans. No time for sorrows, Leia.
Oh, yeah.
Brains and brawn. What's brains and
It's
brawn?
Chewy.
Chewy,
Chewie. Change of plans. That's Han.
Han.
Somebody has to save our skin, Leia.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
didn't take any of the
Yeah.
command cards.
Yeah.
But I can see how that's how that started. Has a Echo's base, and then he just worked from there.
Yeah. No, I really like Han. I think Han and Chewie are really strong. Leia's pretty cheap. She's not a lot more expensive than a generic commander, and she passes out a lot of dodges. So yeah, I like this list.
Because of Nick, I hate Han because he's so good with doing change of plans on me, and then he just has Chewie get it back. I'm like, come on, man.
Yep. Yep.
Great.
So I'll go ahead and take third place because third place is the worst faction in the game. It should have never been made. All the models should just be
Look
thrown
at how
into
you
a fiery pit.
look at how you propaganda.
So third place is a 10 activation, 795, so 5-point bid. It has Kalani with underworld connections, improvised orders, and binoculars. A Capo with vigilance. Maul with choke, push into the fray, and tenacity. 1 battle droid with the medic. 2 battle droids with the E5s. 3 pike foot soldiers with the range 4 gun, and all of them having capos. And probe droids with comms relay. I don't understand the capos.
Well, you have to have, well, I guess you don't have to, but I'm sure it's just a courage situation of not wanting to lose acts
Yeah.
or actions.
Yeah, but I mean, okay, so 16, I don't know, times 3, whatever that point is.
Mhm.
Why not bring another actual capo for activation padding, and then you can fit in another.
He already has a
something.
capo. He's all out of commander slots. This isn't Shadow Collective. They can't take 3.
Yeah.
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 I don't know.
I mean, it's solid. It's just like Daniel said. It's got that. It's for act because as I realized when I was playing against Daniel, like, and against Omar, is my guys really suffer when it comes to suppression. And having 2 axes is better than having 1, obviously.
This list, I'm
Yeah.
actually surprised did so well. Like looking at this list, if I was to play against it, I'd be like, this is a weird match of things. Because you've got battle droids with Kalani, which means you want order control, but then you've got pikes that don't want order control, and then you're gonna have kind of a wild bag because you'll have Maul and the pike capo and the foot soldiers all in there. So I don't know. This is a weird list. I don't really understand like the thought process behind it. but it went 3-0. So I would be interested to see like.
Well, he
So
still's
could
got
you-
really good order control. His Kalani issues out to the battle droids, and then to the Sith probe droid. You give an order to Maul, and then he's got ploy for that as well. I feel like he's.
But then you'll have like the capo, the 3 foot soldiers, and the probe droid all inside your bag.
No,
Well,
because
not
if
if
you
you
chain
do
it right,
Yeah, you can
Well,
get
no,
to
if you
the
because
chain it
probe droid.
right, start with
probe droid-
Kalani.
Okay.
Yeah, because Kalani has AI, so you give it to a B1, you daisy chain all the way to the Sith probe droid. The Sith probe droid can then comms relay it to Maul, or you can give him order to Maul from the start. So what's in his bag is pretty, solid. It's okay to have Kalani and the Capo in the bag because those are 2 commanders. Whatever you pull, you can choose who you go with.
Right.
And he does have improvised order.
That's true. That's true. Yeah. Okay. With the improvised order, I see. I don't know. It feels like you're giving up a lot of the strength of the CIS of just
Mhm.
having that absolute order control. And then you're putting in, I don't know. It just seems kind of funny. I don't understand exactly what this list is trying to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a mishmash of good things. Everything in this list is solid. It's just, yeah.
Just no set direction, which
Right.
honestly might have helped him in the long run because his opponent would have been like us trying to figure out what's the
Yeah, like I
theme,
don't know
what's the
what I would shoot
direction.
at in this list. Obviously Maul, but probably Maul's hiding.
Yeah,
And like, yeah.
I like
Yeah.
it just because he chose it to pikes, which you don't need to in a CIS army because B1s, in my opinion, are better.
Yeah.
But not, yeah. So there's that.
I guess that's what's throwing me. Is like, why are there pikes here? This is the army that doesn't need pikes.
Yeah,
But
for
they're
sure.
good. They're good.
Well, congratulations to those top 3 winners. I mean, hopefully they had fun and got some prizes. Oh, look at that tie in there. Did good there. So let's move on. I'm gonna go to with my game first. My game was very quick and very simple. I did not get one. As fast as I go back games, you guys can hear my beautiful voice attempting to do commentary. Well, it was okay. I don't know. You guys played each other.
Don't overthink it. You're fine.
You guys played each other. Do you want to talk about that game, or do you guys want to talk about some other games?
Did you get another game in, Daniel, besides ours?
That's the only one I've got.
So you could talk about ours, and then I'll talk about mine with Omar.
Sure. Yeah. I'll probably just cover like the highlights because this one is available. We have this one on our stream. So if anyone's really interested, you can go and watch, which I would recommend because it ended amazingly. Just JR conceding, me collecting the trophy. I feel like you have to watch all of that. But so basically, we were testing our LVO list against each other. And so you want to say what your LVO list is, JR?
Yeah, my LVO list was pretty much Maul, with tenacity, force choke, force push into the fray. Not into the fray. For vigilance, and then I had 3 capos, 2 of them with vigilance, 1 of them improvised order, 6 pikes, 4 of them with the disruptor soldier and the cache aim guy, and then 2 of them with the capo. Yeah, that's pretty much 10 acts, and I think I was 796 if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, I was sitting at 791, so I got to be blue. My list was I've got 2 Magnas that have tenacity and offensive push, and those are meant to deal with force users. I've got Boss King Cad. Boss has offensive push, Hunter, and the scopes. And then Cad has his gauntlets, and then duck and cover and situational awareness, and comms relay so that he doesn't have to keep his order. And then I've got 4 E5Ss, E5S battle droids, 1 battle droid with just HQ uplink, and a tactical series to kind of tie it all together. And he's got overworld connections, so I am not cheating. And we just starting off like the map. I think the map was pretty advantageous for my list because my list wants to duck around buildings a lot. I have the long range from the battle droids, but really that's just kind of poke and mostly just poke for suppression. And it's not hard to line up a range 4 shot for suppression. So the buildings being there where I can hide 1 battle droid all the time, preventing myself from losing activations. And then I can use CAD to jump between buildings and boss to scale buildings and my Magnus to hide around buildings. That's super advantageous. Like when I'm looking at a map, I'm looking for all of the height 1 objects, and this map had just tons of them. Specifically, right in the middle, there was like an alleyway where there was 2 big height 1 objects really close to the middle. So we went into turn 0, and I was blue, so we're using my battle deck. And we ended up on fortified positions, recover the supplies, and advanced positions. And so it really came down to, and the reason I was really happy with the way that came down, because I specifically wanted recover the supplies, because with those 2 big buildings right near the center, I knew that I could start Cad's little token there, and then he could just grab and then jump behind a building. Because usually the trick with Cad, if you want to do the middle box grab on recover the supplies, is he will die. But if you're able to do 1 speed 2 move and get behind something, then your odds of surviving go way up, because you'll usually survive the first shot, because you'll have your 2 dodges and you can duck and cover. And then if he goes, theoretically, he could not get shot anymore. So that's what I tried to do. I started with my CAD tokens. I put them out. Basically, I put all 3 right near the middle, because we all knew that CAD was going to try to take the middle box. I tried to be tricky about which one was which. I put one up on a building nearby, one on the actual thing, and then the bomb pretty clearly in front. And then I being blue, I got to deploy first, so I deployed some Magna Guards and then scouted as close to Cad's token as I could. Because what I need is, if he reveals Cad's token, I need to be able to pass off the order that Cad gets from that. Otherwise, I won't get my dodges, and then I'll die. So that's my thought process going into deployment. That was my first deployment, and I think at that point, JR was planning to use. I'm going to speak for you just a little bit, but I think you were planning to use Maul to contest that middle box. And so then when I threw down an early deployment there, I prevented Maul from coming into the exact space where he could be super threatening to Cad. And at that point, I think it probably would have been best for you to hold on. I think we talked about it afterwards. If you just held on to Maul and then maybe make a play for my other boxes. But then you threw down Maul, basically at range 3 of my Magna Guards, as close to Cad as you could get while being behind the building. A safe space for Maul, a dangerous place for Cad, but not a spot where Cad will die to Maul. And that was really important for me. We do the rest of our deployment, and it basically is all of your pikes are lined up ready to shoot at that middle box, because that's where Cad's going to show up. Most of my army, actually my Magnas, are all ready to go and help on the middle box. Bosk is kind of in the back to take a sniper spot. And I've got some B1s close, some B1s further back to pick up my boxes and hide. Turn 1, I flip up my CAD token, unsurprisingly sitting on the middle box. And
I actually scouted into it.
Oh yeah, actually I forgot about that. You scouted a squad of pikes in to flip up Cad's token. So Cad gets flipped up, and the bomb goes off. I get a couple pikes off of that, which always feels good. So Cad's already flipped up going into round 1. So round 1, I think you opened with a shot into Cad from some pikes. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think Cad weathered that without taking any wounds, and then he was able to just pick up and jump around. So then the issue at this point became Maul could double move and force push Cad back into the open. And that was the big thing that I was terrified about. It's like, okay, so Cad still could be in danger. But you were nervous that if you put Maul into that position to throw Cad back into the open, then my Magnus would get to shoot at Maul. So it was interesting.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. The thing was that I could double move and be on top of the building and force push you in the open, and Maul would just kind of be sitting there. And I was just like, I could totally kill. In hindsight, this is what I should have done. I could kill Cad, drop the box, and then probably I know you would have shot everything at Maul, and I would trade my Maul for Cad, and I didn't think that was a worthy trade, but in hindsight, it was. So
yeah. I think that probably would have been your best play too. But so you didn't do that immediately. You kind of held off. I think you got a chip shot on either on Magnus, or you might have actually gotten an angle on Cad where you got a shot on him.
Well, I was shooting at the Magnus on the side by position.
Because I had some Magnus hiding behind the building. Actually, they weren't up there yet. Because that was my first activation. And then second activation, when I saw that you hadn't forced push Cad into the open yet, I was like, well, I just got to try to keep Cad behind this building. Because if Cad stays behind this building, I've got a very reasonable chance of winning the game. And so I take my sacrificial B1 unit and I just run them up to the building in such a way where they're all just standing in the spots where Cad could be force pushed into the open. So this means that Cad can't be moved there. So even if he gets moved, he'll still have at least heavy cover, which is what I need to survive. And so that made it where basically Cad isn't going to die this turn because first the Pikes would have to kill the B1s, and then Maul would have to move up and force push him, and then the Pikes would have to take remaining shots into Cad. So I was really happy with that. That meant the Cad was okay for another turn. And I think at this point is when my Magnus came up, you chip shotted. We just kind of went back and forth. And at the end of the turn, what did Maul do that turn? Did he dive onto those B1s that turn?
Yeah, he double moved, force pushed the B1s into me, and then choked the heavy weapon out of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to note too that when you're talking about your Magnas, like chip shots and stuff like that, the reason that they were chip shots because they were freaking armor for Cad Bane. I don't think you mentioned that. You bubble wrapped Cad Bane.
I was really worried about stuff happening where Cad Bane would get hurt, so I literally would put all of my Magna Guards in base contact with either Cad or the box, so there was no way to touch Cad or the box without first killing a lot of Magnas. And I mean, Pikes are good at it. They were chip shotting and putting some wounds on, but it's what I needed. I was basically just trying to protect Cad. Everybody was just Cad's bodyguards that game. And so then we're going into turn 2, and I'm having order control issues because my Magnas are now way further than my whole B1 line because they're kind of picking up boxes and stuff. And the Pikes are starting to get an angle. I think a couple of them swung out left, and some of them are swinging out right, where they're going to start being able to get an angle on where Cad is. So I need Cad to leave and start heading back to my lines. And I play Cad's 2-pip, and Cad's 2-pip is the one, and I think I got shot twice. So I had 4 suppression. And the 2-pip is where he can pass off his suppression to somebody else, and they'll get an immobilized token. And so at this point, Maul is close enough to Cad where Cad could pass off the suppression to him. And so I'm really pleased with that. I'm like, okay, I can give Maul an immobilized token, and then he won't be able to chase me as quick. If I can get outside of his like 2 speed 2 moves, then he won't be able to force pull me back, and I'll be able to kind of get away. And this is kind of the turn where I think the dice kind of went my way. You took a chip shot onto Cad, and Cad took 2 more suppression. And I don't think that was a good idea because that's what I wanted. I really needed all that extra suppression. Yeah. And then I was able to go with Cad, and Cad dumped 4 suppression onto Maul, which gives him an immobilized token and has a chance of meaning that he also loses an action because Maul's courage is 3. And then Cad just double moves. He just leaves. He doesn't want to be there anymore. He just runs as quick as he can to stay outside of range. He's inside of like range 4 shots from Pikes, but those aren't going to be effective because Cad has all of his danger sense and he still has his dodges and stuff. So then it comes down to, is Maul going to be able to break out of here and try to chase down Maul or chase down Cad? And so then you went with Maul, and Maul, well, I did some garbage standby stuff where I was trying to put standbys in range of Maul, and then you would shoot him off. We went back and forth that way for a bunch of activations. I send up some B1s, they stand by, you shoot my B1s, I lose 1 and lose my standby. And we did that all the way till I think it was just my Magnus and your Maul that hadn't gone. And
let me sorry, I was gonna say, let me explain my thought process here. In hindsight, what I should have done is you had to go with the last act, which was your Magnus.
Yes.
I had Maul and Pikes. I wanted the Pikes to finish off a squad of Magnus, but
the blue ones.
But I should have had the Pikes go and then let you go at the Magnus, and then Maul do accordingly with whatever you did. But what I was thinking is, and this is I'm kicking myself in the leg because you never want to roll dice, especially with the force user, right? In defense, anyways. I was gonna attack the B1s, which I did. You had 1 left, and I knew you were gonna go Magnus into me, and I was thinking Maul's got to dodge. He's gonna survive this, And the next turn, what I was gonna do is play as 1-pip where I get disengaged. And I don't know if you remember, but you had put the green B1s that had a box, and you had recohered them to a point where one of them could see the Pikes, so you could chip off I think give them suppression or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. So I think you were close enough to me that next turn, if Maul survived, was to double move, force push those magnets into me, the B1s, and then choke the guy, the leader with the box. That did not go that way.
Yeah, no, and that would have been a good plan because at this point, Cat is pretty far away, so he's
Yeah,
not
I'm not
completely
catching him.
safe, but he's a very
Mhm.
difficult kill, especially compared to a B1 squad. Um, yeah. If you had gone with the pikes instead of Maul, though, I would have just swung around and taken a standby with the Magnas because I didn't want Maul to leave. Maul was hanging
Well,
out.
yeah, that's the thing is I would have
Yeah,
force pushed them to get rid of your standby and then hit the
right.
B1s. In hindsight, that's what I should have done. But yeah, as soon as you were running with Cad Bane, I was just like, I'm not gonna catch him. I was like,
Yeah.
and then I was like, your B1s, I could choke them, drop the box, and we could dance around the box. But
Yep. No, and that probably, yeah. Well, I mean, the dice went my way, so
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know what would have happened exactly. But in this
hold
case,
on. The dice went your way. Your B1s rolling 6 crits, bro. This
oh
is
man,
so good.
yeah.
So
And
good.
you
While all this
block
is,
you
I guess
block how
that
many of
happens
those?
later, but yeah. So we
Huh?
so the next thing, yeah. So you go with Maul. Maul fails to roll off the suppression. He
Yeah.
so he has 2 actions instead of 3. First action,
Mhm.
he slices into the B1s, and he's not able to kill 2 of them. So there's 2 B1s sitting there, which is a problem because you could force choke 1 and walk away, but you can't force choke 2. So there's 2 sitting
Yeah.
there. Maul's still there, and the Magnus haven't gone, and they're very much in charge range. Um, and so you recover to get all of your force powers back because that's really important for force users. And then
Mhm.
I charge in with the Magnas. And the Magnas are actually 1 speed 2 move away, so they're able to aim and pop their offensive push. So they roll in with 2 aims. They're not wounded yet. Unfortunately, all the chips were on the other squad. So this squad's just rolling its 8 black, but it gets all of them because that's
Yeah.
what Magnas do sometimes. Sometimes they roll 3, sometimes they get all of them. And so they came in, they got all of them, and then Maul rolls his defense dice, and he takes all but 1 wound. So
Yeah. He
Maul is
takes
sitting.
four
Mhm.
wounds.
So Maul's sitting on 1 health left after this Magna charge. And at this point, like, I don't think there's anything you can do that saves that Maul.
No.
Um,
No.
and yeah, it's probably, yeah. So we go into the next turn. Magnus go, and he is forced to basically play the 3 pip. You want to talk about your thought process of with what command card you wanted to go with?
Yeah, like I said, I originally wanted to go with Duel of Fate, so that way I can get to that B1 and choke the box. However, that not the case. You did 4 wounds to me. I had 1 left, so I was sitting at. I could take a dodge and then I was surge to defense, but I was like, I have to put my faith in 50%. So then that's when I decided to do Witch Magic, so I can get 2 more health. I'm sitting at 3 health now, and I'm just praying to the dice gods. Let me get my blocks in. I don't know. I did something to piss them off because I did not get that.
No. Yeah. So the Magnas are able to go first because I play a 2
Question.
pip. Yeah.
So my biggest fear in that turn was you going right away with the Magnus, because I was hoping you didn't go with the Magnus so I can have a turn to go with Maul to buff to do some things with him to give him a chance to survive, more survivability. But you had drawn the Magnus and you had made a comment like, "Man, I didn't want this. I didn't want to go with them. Why?"
So I wanted to kill you with a bounty hunter. I had no doubt
Ah,
in my mind that you were gonna die. And this was the turn that
mm,
Boss got to shoot twice. So if I could
okay.
just sit there with the Magnas, I just wait till you leave, and then I kill you with Bosk. Bosk was sitting on a building right near you.
Yeah.
And I don't think Bosk would have had any trouble chewing through. At this point, it would have been 3 wounds,
Yeah.
with 2 attacks with aims. That was what I wanted, because that would have for sure sealed the game for me. And
Yeah.
then I was
Go ahead.
also sitting on Bosk's 1 pip. So even if I got you down to like maybe half or got 1 or 2 wounds on you, then I would have popped the 1 pip next turn and killed you with that. So in my head, I was like, I've got Cad's box, I've got my other boxes. If I can get a bounty, then I don't even hardly have to worry about anything. Like, people don't even have to survive for me, because you were kind of close to that B1 squad.
Yeah.
And I'm always nervous when Cad has a box, because sometimes Cad has to come back and fight with the box, which gets sketchy. But if I can lock down a bounty, then that would have been it. So that's what I was hoping to do. Um,
My plan, I'll tell you my plan. My plan was to aim and attack the Magnus, and then my last action, force choke one of them. Then my last action to take a dodge because I wasn't moving. I needed to survive your Magna hits, and I needed to reduce your firepower to potentially have Maul running around and do some shenanigans.
Yeah.
But you're a good player. I figured if I did that with Maul, you probably would have took your green B1s and then marched them back. So it would have been another chase to do.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Really, I mean, the deciding factor was that huge roll that the Magnus got. Because once Maul is on that much health, he can't be making big dive into my army plans. Not with 2 bounty hunters and he's got a bounty on his head. It's just so sketchy. Because yeah, even if you get past Bosk, you're kind of going towards where Cat is going, and he's got the gauntlet. It's not amazing, but it sucks when it hits.
Bro, I got PTSD from our games when you play that gauntlet.
Yep. So basically, Magnas go first. Magnas go ahead and just attack, and they're able to finish off Maul because the saves just didn't come through.
Yep.
Both squads of Magnus paid for that in blood, so they both get wiped out by pikes. But then the next 3 turns are just basically me backing up behind more and more pieces of terrain, and the pikes just couldn't catch up. And so I'm able to win with my 3 boxes to your 2.
Yeah, it was a good game. It was very
I'm
much.
sorry, I missed that last part. Can you repeat that last part?
To quote my dad, all the time growing up, he would always say, "You can't win them all, son. You can't win them all."
Yeah.
So
Yep.
good game. That was a really good game. I had a lot of fun.
It really was, and I think some of that map, I think, is just the way Nick set you up to lose. Because that map, I don't think I could have asked for a better setup. Having all of that height 1 stuff, like that's the situation where CAD can play well, Boss can play well, and Pikes can't. Because I'm able to at least hide some units. You're not going to wipe activation super easily. I don't have to get into a big gunfight with you. Yep.
Yeah.
Because even like the middle terrain that I was hiding behind, because I was hiding behind this big thing, and there was 3 turns for you to get around it. And I realized like on turn 4, it's like, oh, he's going to be able to get around this. And I look and I'm like, there's another piece I can hide behind. And my guys just ran behind the next piece. And it was like, this feels kind of cheap, but this map is wonderful for me.
Oh, bro. I finally like understood where some people can complain about the map. I don't like to complain, and I'm not going to complain about this map. I think Nick did a wonderful job placing this terrain. But that's just how sometimes the game's going to go. Your list is going to suffer on the terrain, and that's just how it happens sometimes. And so it's a real big eye opener for me. I agree with you. I know we talked about it. I should have had Maul infiltrate towards the other 2 box and play that game. I should have realized you would have had the middle box off of Cat, because Cat is so hard to kill nowadays. And he's got a lot of good shenanigans that he could do that just keep his survivability alive.
The best part about the whole terrain issue right now, and you losing partly due to the terrain, is the fact that it was your terrain.
Yeah, that was my turn. Hey, that's not even the worst part, okay? There's like a lot of things that add up to the big worst, but those 6 crits that Daniel got on those B1s, they're my dice. Those dice that I felt, they're my dice. All of it's just my stuff.
Yeah, for reference, there was this one B1 squad that had nothing important to do. So they just kept shooting at pikes that would show up, and they were rolling fire. They rolled like first one unaimed, they rolled like 5 out of 7 or 5 out of 8 into an open squad. And I was like, oh, that's nice. And then the next one they rolled and they got 6 out of 8 crits into a heavy cover squad. And I'm like, oh yeah, these are my commando B1s. They know what's up.
JR, we're sharing dice from now on. We are sharing dice from now on, JR.
You know, they weren't working for me. I'll tell you that much.
JR, what game did you get in?
I got a game with Daniel. I'm not gonna talk about that game. Kind of heard about it, but the other game I got in was with Omar. I played my LVO list again because after that game with Daniel, I kind of got fired up, and then kind of didn't get fired up at the same time because I'm like, oh, okay, I got to practice. Like Daniel does a good game, and then the announcement that points are dropping, I'm just like, well, damn, I don't want to practice it now because what if it changes? So I decided to play it anyways against Omar. Omar was running a 12-act list. He's running Rebel Troopers. I think he had 2 of them, a Tauntaun, swoop bikes, the bus with Wookiees, Leia, ATRT, and a strike team. We got battle lines, intercept transmission, and I want to say it wasn't 4 to 5. I'm not sure what the condition was. I think it's hostile environment, which we totally didn't play because I just remembered and totally didn't keep track of that at all. And yeah, so pretty much he put the bus and the Wookiees to the left side and the Tauntauns. He put a rebel trooper, swoop bikes, and Leia in the middle. And then on the right side, he put an ATRT, rebel troopers, and a strike team. Oh, and he also running R2D2 and C3PO. So it's intercept. Maul's great at intercept. I infiltrate Maul behind the line of sight blocker. He's on more on the left side, and I put 2 pikes. And then I put a capo there. In the middle, I put 2 pikes with the capo, and then the very right side, I put a capo with the 2 pikes with the capos in it. And pretty much it's just shooting back and forth. He's at the mercy of his bag. He's out activating me, but mercy of the bag, he had to pull the swoops early. I was able to shoot off the swoops turn 1. The Tauntauns move in. They take a shot at the pikes, kill some pikes. Maul jumps into the Tauntauns, attacks the pikes, or sorry, Tauntauns. I take some pot shots at the ATRT, get a couple wounds, shoot at R2 when he didn't have a suppression on him, get a couple wounds. Buzz comes in, and he's got that gun there. I forget what's called with the 5 dice. He's taking out some pikes, and he's got a reckless driver, so he's kind of like trying to get set up to run over all my guys. Turn 2, Maul's engaged with Tauntaun. Tauntauns go first. They punch Maul. Maul takes a wound. And at this point, I'm just like, okay, Maul doesn't need to go. Shooting at the rebel troopers, dwindling down. Strike team. He clambers with the strike team. He loses a strike team off that guy. Just one guy. And then R2D2 is slowly moving its way to the deployment. This is turn 2. He wins the bus moved up, shot some more. Then was it middle one we tie? No, I think he wins the middle one. The very right one we tie, and then Maul at Tauntauns. Maul kills the Tauntauns and tries to move in a position where the Wookiees can't, but I need to score that last point or that last intercept. And sure enough, the Wookiees get out of the bus and are able to charging distance. They charge, same thing. Maul dies. Instant just rolls hot. And I spin the dodge. It all math comes into play, and I get nothing but blanks. And I'm just sitting there like, dang. So Wookiees take that point. So I think it's 2-1. Or sorry, 2-0. But throughout the next course of turns, the pikes have more firepower than him, because I was telling them, like, if you take a bigger act, you're usually sacrificing firepower, and that's what they do. They overwhelm. I kill a lot of acts. Third turn, I just ignore the bus, but the bus comes in and starts doing its shenanigans, but I just ignore it. It's killing my pikes. I'm losing quite a bit of pikes. He has to make decisions. Wookiees are on the left intercept, and they're the only ones there. They could either move away from that and no one's going to score that, or he stays there and just caps that, which in my opinion just kind of makes the Wookiees useless at that point.
That's a really expensive intercept point.
Yeah, exactly. And then at the very right, I win that one, and the middle one, I and everything. So it was a fun game. Man, I'm losing them all a lot lately. And yeah, it was fun. Had a lot of fun playing them.
I like playing Omar. Omar is a fun player.
He comes with these gnarly lists, man. It's just
Yeah.
We were setting up and everything. I was just like, okay, I put my unten act. You ready to go? He's just like, oh wait, I got 2 more. I was like, oh, okay, my bad. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
All right, let's go into some command cards here. This week we were going to do the infamous General Grievous, but nobody cares about CIS, so let's move on.
Oof.
I care.
I'll go ahead and take the 3-pip, crush them. General Grievous and 2 units. When General Grievous issues an order to a unit, that unit gains 1 surge token for each defeated enemy unit. You want to play this turn 5, maybe turn 6. But what's hard about that for me is that late in the game, you're generally wanting to go first. And in my opinion.
Yeah.
Well, also, go ahead, Daniel.
I've played a bit of General Grievous. I really like him, and that was my original thought for this card. Was like play turn 5, turn 6. But what you find is that you can usually drop an act on like round 1, round 2, and if you've dropped 1 or 2 acts, that's really all you're going to use off of the card anyways. You don't need more than 2 surge tokens on a unit. And often I'm using General Grievous with aggressive tactics just because he gives out a lot of orders. And all droids need surge tokens. So I actually think that this is almost a mid-game card. I found that it's most effective when it's like turn 3, turn 4. I killed maybe a strike team or like a squad of bikes or something, and it just adds an extra surge onto units that I really wanna use.
Yeah, I have a love and hate relationship with this card, for the very same reason you said, Daniel. But at the same time, like this card is like just overkill in my opinion. If you're playing this card to get surges, you're already winning the game, and it just reassures that. So it's not like to me, it's a command card that doesn't really do anything other than like make you more like odds of winning the game, and at that point, you're already winning the game.
Yeah, I think it could be more helpful than that just because a lot of droids don't surge. So it does add value almost anywhere. And 3 orders is pretty good. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's a fairly vanilla card. If you're looking to cut one, if you're running Grievous along with someone else, this is one that often gets cut. It's not that interesting.
Daniel, you want to take the 2-pip?
Sure. Supreme Commander. This gives orders to 2 trooper units. General Grievous gains 1 surge token for each other friendly trooper unit at range 1. While another friendly trooper unit has a face-up order token, it gains Guardian 2 and can use Guardian during melee attack. Now, I used this card before Magna Guards came out, and it was so-so. And now with Magna Guards, it's a good card. I like it a lot better because he's got his little buddies, and him and his little buddies go and dive into people. And then you say, you want to kill Grievous? You can't. You have to kill his little buddies. And I get surge tokens because my little buddies are here. And it's all of a sudden like it's a much more like serious presence that you're dropping on people. I like it.
You
And
kept saying. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I
no, I was
like
gonna.
it. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
No, I was gonna say, and the Magna Guards get Guardian 4.
Guardian
Solid.
4 on melee. You can use all 4 of that Guardian in melee. So
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
kept saying Grievous and his little buddies, and I just imagine Grievous and the Magna Guards walking with balloons, eating their little ice cream, you know?
It's exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this one's for me is like a really good card to play. Just like you said, to give even when Magnets were coming out, I liked it with just the B1s because if you're shooting at Grievous, now Grievous' biggest problem is suppression, but if you're shooting at Grievous, he's usually not taking damage because of all the B1s that could Guardian for him because you got daisy chains all over the place, which is
This is
sweet. So
actually usually the card that I use to dive with, or the second card after diving. This or the 1-pip. I usually do those back to back.
Yep.
Because if you're already in and you play this card, if people want to withdraw, if you do something and you have to attack early with them and they withdraw, it's like, oh, that's not the biggest deal. You can shoot at me and I have like Guardian 8 around me between my 2 Magna Guards. And then or vice versa, if you need to dive early, it's the same kind of situation. Oh, I dive onto a Jedi. You want to swing back? I'm not going to take any of that damage. I don't want to deal with any of that. It's really good.
Yeah, that Guardian melee is really good.
Yeah.
Peter, you know what? That's a good segue into the 1-pip.
Oh, this is my favorite. All the pip cards or command cards. Trained in your Jedi arts, General Grievous. General Grievous gains disengage and 1 dodge token. At the end of his activation, he may perform an attack against each enemy unit at range 1 using the following weapons, which is melee and range 1. It's a red, 2 blacks, and a white. It's suppressive and it's versatile. This is my spin to win, baby. If I'm diving you in and I'm going spin to win, and now with up close and personal on him, you get all those dodges. Oh, it's a beautiful card. It's a good way to shut you down if you're clumping up your army.
This is the card that I honestly think would think of when I think General Grievous. It's just, all 4 of his arms or 6 arms, however many he had, with his lightsaber spinning, and he's just going to town. So
I imagine from the 2003 General Grievous where he's spinning sideways with his arm sideways, go like that's what I imagine he's doing. Yep.
Yeah. To me, this is the only auto include. The other ones, the 2-pip and the 3-pip, depending on who you're taking and what your thing is, you can probably get rid of them. But there's no way that you would get rid of trained in your Jedi arts like that. That's the only auto include.
Yeah.
Not only that,
Yeah.
you get that dodge, so you don't have to go first. So you get surge to block, and then if it's against a force user, you get impervious too. So I mean, you're most likely going to survive because General Grievous has 8 health, and not to mention the Guardians.
Yep.
All right. Well, that's General Grievous. Overall, he's trash because he's CIS.
Overall, he's trash because he's courage too, and it makes me sad.
That is weird for a commander.
It makes sense. They're trying to be like thematic with him being
No,
a coward.
no, Daniel.
I just wish he had something where he didn't get suppressed. Like if he ran at 4, I get it. But the suppressed, oof.
He
Give him
should really be a
Dauntless or
droid
something.
trooper. He should really be a droid trooper, in my opinion.
It would
He's
help with a
not,
lot of
though.
things.
So
He's all cyborg. He's pretty much a robot.
So
I'd be okay if they had
watched-
cyborg be a keyword. And they were like, cyborg, you get some advantages of droid trooper. But
I watched a thing on General Grievous on TikTok. I love the TikTok guys, just throwing that out there.
Mhm.
And he was actually like a really good warrior from this race. Like he was it.
That's
then-
what makes me so. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, that's what makes me so upset. General Grievous was scary. He was tactical. He understood what he was doing. And that's what he was all the way up until the Clone Wars animation came out. And then they just made him a wuss. I'm like, what's he doing? Gungans are kicking his ass? Like, come on.
Well, I mean, I think at that point, though, I mean, he was old, you know? Yeah, but I don't know. I agree with the Courage 2 being cinematically correct, but lore correct. He was a bad mother lover.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into rules. Daniel, I understand that you have some rules for us.
all right, I've got some rules questions for you guys. So first one I've got is about Grogu. I don't know how much you guys have been playing with Grogu, but the question is it possible to use Grogu's latent power ability at the end of his/Din's activation while being transported in a closed transport vehicle? So just for reference, closed transport vehicles, you can't perform actions inside of them.
What was the question?
Can Grogu use his latent power ability? So at the end of Grogu's turn, he does this thing where he rolls the die and he either like heals somebody or puts suppression on. Can he do that from a closed transport?
I want to say yes, because it's not an action.
Yeah, I agree with Adam. It's not an action and it happens outside of your activation.
That is correct. Yeah, it's not an action. And you can't do any actions, even free actions inside of closed transport. But since it's not an action, it still triggers. All right. Second one I've got is IG-11. IG-11, Gunslinger, and Self-Destruct. Assuming IG-11 plays his 3-pip that triggers his self-destruct, would he also get the ability to use Gunslinger? The guess is no, but the way that Steady and Gunslinger works with Han Solo, the way the rules are written, it seems like it should.
I'm saying no.
So you want to self-destruct your Gunslinger?
Yeah, so
Or
the self-destruct will
Gunslinger
hit
your
everybody
self-destruct.
anyways, but he wants to do a second attack.
Yeah, I'm saying no because same thing like Grogu, it's an attack outside of the activation, where Gunslinger you have to take an attack action, and I'm not sure self-destruction is an attack action.
I want to look up. I'm not going to look up the rules yet, but I want to look up Gunslinger before I make. My phone will be quickest. Before I make a question on that or an answer on that. Oh, I lied. My phone
Wow,
won't be the quickest.
Keeping us waiting, Adam.
I
Come
know,
on.
I know. There it is. After a unit with the Gunslinger keyword performs a ranged attack action, I'm going to say no because it is not a ranged. It's not an attack action.
That's correct. Yeah, this is not an attack action. It's just an attack that happens at the end of the turn. So you do not get Gunslinger off of it. It does still hit everybody, so that's fine. You just can't shoot also.
Yeah.
All right, and the last question I've got for you guys is about Yoda and Chewie. I had an encounter with these two and was surprised by all the things they could do. So I thought this question would be fun. The question is, this sorry, this is worded a little bit funny. I haven't seen this posted before. I apologize if it's a repost. I have an order of events question for standby triggering with size matters sometimes. Once you play size matters sometimes and get Yoda into base contact with Chewie, after performing a move action with Chewie, can a standby trigger before you move Yoda into base contact with him? So for reference, the size matters sometimes. After Chewie moves, Yoda snaps into base contact with Chewie. And so this is asking, can you stand by before Yoda snaps into base contact, or does that happen after?
So
Can you stand by before he snaps?
So like
so
an enemy Chewie is charging at you. He runs
Yeah.
at you. Can you murder him before Yoda snaps to him?
Oh, I got you. Go ahead, Adam.
I really don't know because it's the order of things, because is moving Yoda considered part of Chewie's move? That's where I'm questioning it. But I'm going to go ahead because I like seeing dead things. I'm going to say you can absolutely trigger those standbys before Yoda snaps into place.
All right, what do you
So
think, JR?
yeah, I'm gonna say no. You can activate the standby because all it says on the card is if Chewie's at range 1 of a friendly Yoda, you may place that Yoda in base contact. So it doesn't say it's an action or anything. You just do it. The moment
We'll
you're at
read the
range
rest
1.
of it because that's the first part.
Oh, okay. If you do, Yoda cannot perform, and after Chewie moves, place Yoda in base contact with Chewbacca while Yoda is in base contact. Oh, so when he moves, yeah.
That's the key word right there. After Chewie
Yeah,
moves.
yeah. It says Chewbacca moves, place Yoda in base contact. I think you can't activate the standby because it's not an action or anything. It's something that just happens.
No. So you're moving Chewie,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Like he's
Chewie,
already snapped into place, right?
so you move
Yeah.
Chewie. Chewie sets off the standby. So the
Right.
question is, does the standby go off after moving Chewie or after Yoda snaps into place?
Yeah. So my thing is like he moves, you snap him into place. I don't think there's like
A
an
timing
instance
window
of
there.
yeah, I don't think there's a
But
timing window.
So
but
the
see,
correct
okay.
answer,
Okay, hold on.
Is-
We got the
I'm all
answer right
worked up
here.
on this. I'm all worked up on this.
Adam is correct. The standby can be spent before Yoda is moved into base
Oh,
contact with Chewie. Yep.
wow,
Well,
really?
again, because the
Yep.
card says after Chewie moves.
Yep. And that's pretty consistent across like anything that happens after. When a standby triggers, a standby will happen before that after is triggered. That's the same with like steady and relentless
Mm-hmm.
because
Do you
both
have
of
another
those
one
are
for
worded
us?
after.
Do you have another one for us or no?
That's it. That was my 3. Yep.
So, okay, I have a question to throw for you guys that I don't know the answer to. I was talking to somebody about it. So you play this card because this happened in your game, and I think Dash was talking about it. Is what happens if you play this card, and then let's say it's Magnus go into base contact with Yoda. Can then Chewie just double move away, snapping Yoda with him without having to
Yes, he can.
disengage?
He
Really?
can.
Oh
It
my
sucks because Yoda's
Oh.
not moving. Yoda is just teleporting. So it's the same as like, yeah, it's the same as like Vader's might, where you can just chuck people.
Hey,
It's
so
real
That's
bad.
wild.
That's what I thought he was gonna do on turn, because it was first activation he charged in, and second activation I'm
Yeah.
like, Chewie's gonna leave. I can't let Chewie leave.
That's wild. Okay, all right.
No,
That's
it's
cool. I
hey,
like
heavy
it.
good.
so I have a
Yeah.
question for you, Dieter.
Okay.
What's your follow-up on your War of the
Oh,
Rules with
okay. Yeah. So
LJ?
the Cad Bane. So it is humble week, guys. Yep, that's ruling that Adam gave is very much the ruling. I just didn't understand it, but somebody in the Discord had explained it to me. So what happens is it's a rule breaking another rule. And in deployment, you can't base anything willingly. You can't just put something in another enemy's base or a friendly's base. However, you can base a token. And since Cad Bane has to go where the token was, it breaks the you can be engaged because the token Cat has to go where the token is, which theoretically that character is in base contact with the token, so you have to be in base contact with that. So that was throwing me off, is because LJ's ruling was just like, yes, you could do that, and it's just like, well, why? I didn't know. I was like, I needed to know, but yeah, humble week today.
I like
These are
that
just,
humble pie you're eating.
Cad does messy
bro.
things. I've got like 4
Yeah.
questions that I asked on the FAQs just because Cad is like, he's a messy guy. He breaks a lot of rules.
Well, even with Chewy now, like I'm just, size matters. Sometimes I'm blown away. I'm just like, you can do some really shenanigans with
Yeah,
these
no,
guys. And
after I played that game where Yoda almost just ran away, I was like, oh,
yeah,
I'm gonna read every FAQ that has to do with these two and what they can do.
I'm about to dust them off now.
Oh no, yeah.
yeah,
I've got like
yeah,
a list built. It's like I want to try them.
yeah.
They worked against me. I want to
Hey,
see them work against someone else.
Cad and Yoda, or Cad, Yoda, and Chewie, in my opinion, are the most like rage up your opponent and just have them flip the table like, nah, F this game.
Yeah. Cad not
Man.
so much because even though his stuff is pretty game breaking, it's not usually that impactful. So it's like, oh, you're in melee. Well, you were gonna be a fraction off of melee, so it doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
But it is confusing. Whereas like Yoda just walking away with the box, that's game changing.
All right, gentlemen, we're pushing time. JR, anything else to add?
Oh yeah, I was gonna ask Daniel. Okay, Daniel, now you got the bounty. Are you gonna accept any challenges till December 1st, or are you just gonna ski with it?
Oh, I'm just gonna skeet with it. No, no, I'll play whatever I can. It's kind of rough because like with Thanksgiving and stuff, I might not be as available as I should be.
Yeah.
Legion is life. Tell your family. We have Thanksgiving dinner around the Legion table.
I'm inviting someone over for Thanksgiving, and we're just gonna play Legion just real quick right before dinner.
Yeah.
Hey, instead of watching football,
Play some Legion.
Yeah.
play some Legion.
Well, you hear it here first, guys. Challenge Daniel before December 1st to try to get that Mando bus. Because that's a sweet Mando bus.
So I have a quick question, and it's probably something we're gonna have to talk about off the podcast. But our new season starts December 1st. So we're gonna have a new bus. If Daniel or whoever starts it, let's just say me, if I'm gonna start with it because I'm not that hard to beat, and I go and lose in Burbank, does that bus go to somebody in Burbank?
No, just locally.
Yeah,
like, guys,
I think it's just our local.
We'll have
We
to
could
come up with
include like we
something.
could say like a 2-hour radius. If you travel more than 2 hours, then no.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the idea of it being here, and like I think it'd grow the community more here if they're fighting for something over. Whereas somebody 2 hours away is just like, how many times am I gonna play them?
Yeah. I actually have a new policy I want to implement for that. I think we should have a no tag backs policy. Because
Yeah.
I think it's much more exciting when it passes around like, oh, it's open season on this
Yes.
person and there's open season on this
Yeah,
other person,
yeah.
instead of like, JR just stashing his Mando.
Yeah.
So that he could lose to Toby and then not pass off the
I actually like that policy because like I didn't want to take it off Nick because I think Nick earned it.
Yeah.
And then I wanted somebody else to fight for it from Nick, but it just so happened that I played Nick. I was the first person to play Nick after our game, and yeah.
I think
I do think though, like
yeah.
I was gonna say, I do think that like let's say you lost the Mando to somebody else, and then I play that person. I do think it should come back to me. I
for
just
sure.
don't think you
Just
can do
no
it.
tag backs, like
Yeah,
just
yeah,
not
yeah.
the same matchup.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree.
So, and I have some quick podcast news I forgot in the front. December 16th, is it 16th or the 10th? The 10th.
The 10th.
Is going to be Learn to Play over at Go Back Gaming. The date may change. Victor is like 95% sure though. So mark it in your calendars if you want to play, Learn to Play, come hang out, talk some smack, beat up on JR. December 10th. It is a Saturday. Go Back Gaming. Time still to be determined, I think, but I think we'd be there all day. I think he opens the shop up at 3. So actually, I think he just posted on Facebook. It's gonna be like noon now. He opens.
I think for this event we should get to pick JR's army. So it's just like really bad. And then just be like, oh, you can play sweaty if you want. You have nothing that shoots beyond range 1. It's all grenades.
No, so I was going even worse than that, since it's a Learn to Play. You can only bring stuff that's included in the starter set. 500 point skirmish.
Starter
only
sets are
starter
pretty
set.
strong. I think that
Mhm.
mostly
Oh,
just hurts Rebels.
So this is actually like a tournament. Is that what that is?
No, it's a learn to play. So we
Okay,
don't want,
okay.
yeah, we don't want to get anything too big or complicated. So just quick starter sets,
Mhm.
20, 30-minute games, 45-minute games, just the basics. Get the community involved.
So what's the next question I was gonna ask you? What's the next bus we're gonna be fighting for?
Oh, I'm torn in between two.
Give me my boy. Give him to me.
Not yet. Not yet. I'm in between an Ahsoka one because we all know how much I love Ahsoka.
That'd be cool.
And Princess Leia.
That'd be cool.
So I'm in between those two.
The next one is are we doing the random thing like we had talked about? I think that'd be pretty cool.
I was gonna do a like a number generator, right? Assign everybody in our local group a number and number generator, and that's who has it.
I think you should just pick a
The-
day and be like the first person I see who plays Legion that day gets it. It's like, oh,
I may make or we may make a caveat where like if Daniel ends up with the bus, then he is exempt from the random pool
from winning it? The next
no,
bus?
from
No.
starting with it.
from starting
Oh,
with it.
yeah. You should just do
Yeah.
whoever challenges you. Whoever challenges you gets the bus. Like get a game in.
Oh yeah,
Again,
win or
because-
lose, first person I play
again.
after.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Daniel maybe again. I'm not that hard to beat. Like,
Well, so my thing is, you get whoever plays you, the first person to play you or challenge you, they automatically get the bus because you. I know you don't have a lot of time to play, but at least now you're gonna get those games in that we can talk about on the stream.
Yeah. No, yeah, I want to play more now. Now that I got eliminated from Invader, like I'm ready to play more in person. It's just this weekend. This week is Thanksgiving, but next week I should be back.
After the points drop, Daniel, I want to play you.
Oh
I-
yeah,
I-
honestly,
yeah.
like I'm pretty hyped. If they do a good points drop, like
I'm not hyped at all. I'm not hyped at all. I'm
look,
so.
I already know that clones are going to be going up in price. So
yeah, again, they're too strong.
Hey, they're just gonna get rid of
Arcs
the
add
clone
another
trooper
15
keyword.
points.
all right, gents, it's time to call it a night. I appreciate you guys joining me. Everybody out in podcast land, thank you for joining us. We will see you next week. Don't forget to turn in this week on our Twitch to Painting with Omar. All right, guys, have a great night.
Yeah.